Now I'm putting my runner hat on, so this is what you would potentially give the business. And this is the data template. In this case, we have absolutely no data in it whatsoever because we're going to be pulling that data from SAP. So when I come over here to this Run tab, I actually have multiple SAP interactions, or again, what we call scripts, and one of them includes a query script. So this is pulling data out of the back end, and we have lots of ways to make that also very secure and will not bring down the system if they were to run it. In fact, we can leverage security objects that will take it down to the field value level so that if Ryan and I had different permissions on the transaction from Material Master, for example on plants, we could both run the same query and potentially see different data based on those security objects. So I'm logging in, and now I've got some default search criteria, and you'll notice the asterisk, just like in transaction, certain fields are required. In this case, it's the runtime search criteria. So I can't run this wide open and pull back every single material. I also have a plant that's required. And if I didn't know which plant, I could, again, leverage something like an F4 lookup and search through the plants, get a list of plants, and then simply choose them. So I'm going to stick with my default. Some of the values can be hard-coded, like this initial language key, and some of them can be user-driven. So once I fill in my search criteria, it will go to SAP, and on this yellow bar you'll see the feedback. It's reading the data, and it's writing it to my particular Excel file the way that I mapped it. And you'll see there's quite a number of fields. We've got MRP data, MRP2, we got some accounting data, and you can also leverage Excel formulas and macros and so forth to format the data to your heart's delight, because everything is in Excel instead of a text file or comma-separated file. And one of the other things I want to do is read the long text. I mentioned I could do that, and I mentioned these transaction scripts could also be the equivalent of a display script. So in this case, I just need to pass up my material number to SAP, and then it will download the long text in this column. So I'll go ahead and run that. And you'll notice again I have a run button here because I chose there was no data review. If there was a data review, then we would go ahead and fill in the data, we could validate it, but we'd have to get an approval before we could run it against an SAP production system. So here's all of our long text. You know, maybe I can make a few changes in here, and now we'll hop over to our update script. So this is actually going to do the update. Again, we've extracted using query from the back end. We've read the long text, and now we can turn around and go through the validation process and as well as posting. So we've got a couple of message columns here, so let's do the validate first. And just like you saw me do when I was developing the script, it will show me either success or an error message. So here I have as part of the document type, which in SAP is not restricted at all, I went ahead and gave a list of lookup values. So it's empty and it was complaining about it, so I'll choose it. And then here, this particular one said that the GIF was not in the list, so I have to come over here and make a change. So we'll go ahead and change the value. Again, I could come in here and change other values, as many as I wanted. I can now revalidate the ones that, just the ones that failed. So we'll go and just try to revalidate the ones that errored out previously. And you'll see that it did. And again, all of these messages are in line with the data, with messages that are pretty easy for a business user to understand. So I don't have to do this whole ping-pong effect with pulling out the ones that succeeded, correcting the ones that failed, and then passing them back to IT. A business user can do this. And again, it's very, very controlled, and all of the business rules that you built into the script, all the business rules in SAP are all adhered to. So now I'll go ahead and do the run, and we'll get our SAP messages here. And again, the text was saved because I did the long text update as well, in case any of the values were changed. So you can see the SAP messages are here. And all of this information gets logged, in this case on our user governance side, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in a while.